All right, Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakak Kodash. Double honors to the elders and apostles, great millstone, time of this truth. Peace, blessings, and salutations to the hopeful elect. Shalom, may Lord willing, this lesson is edifying. Now, this lesson is going into, these missiles are going to come upon Edom, man. All right? Because we understand, all right, the false doctrine of Christianity, all right, has nothing to do with the scriptures, man. All right? And Christians don't really go into real prophecy, man. Okay? Because according to Bible prophecy, America is Mystery Babylon the Great. And America is going to be destroyed in these last days by the way of fire, man. And that's how in the time of Jacob's trouble, that these Christians, they're really not, they're not going to make it, man. Only the Lord's elect are going to make it through these troubling and trying times, because these people, they profess, to believe in the God of the Bible, but at the same time, they love this world. All right. And because they love this world, all right, that's why the scriptures say, he that loveth his life shall lose it, and he that hateth his life in this world shall find it unto life eternal, man. All right. Because in actuality, these people actually love this world, man. They profess to know God. All right. But they really want America to continue. All right. But the true believers in the Bible, the true believers in the truth, the true gospel, all right, they want, as Apostle Paul quoted the book of Isaiah, we look for a new heaven and new earth wherein dwelleth righteousness, man. All right. So let me get this real quick, man, because fire is gonna come upon Edom, man. All right, just going into, all right, these people don't really know prophecy. All right, they don't bring up the Edomites. Okay, they don't speak about America being Babylon the Great. Okay, the time of Jacob's trouble, the mark of the beast being the micro sea hip. That ain't talked about in church, every Sunday, man. All right, but the true men of the Lord are speaking on these things day to day. All right, so this is the book of Isaiah, chapter 34, and I'm gonna start at verse 4. It says, "And all the host of heaven shall be dissolved, and the heavens shall be rolled together as a scroll, and all their hosts shall fall down as a leaf farther off from the vine, and as a falling fig from the fig tree." And the heavens being rolled together as a scroll is going into that mushroom cloud, man. That cloud, rolling in on itself from what? From the destruction, from the missiles, because that's what's coming in these last days. And when you go to the book of Revelation, John the Revelator, all right, John the Revelator spoke about the same thing. All right, this is the book of Revelation, chapter 6, verse 13. "And the stars of heaven fell unto the earth, even as a fig tree casteth her untimely figs when she is shaken of a mighty wind. And the heaven departed as a scroll when it is rolled together," just like we read in Isaiah 34. All right, the heavens being rolled together as a scroll. All right, it says, "And every mountain and island were moved out of their places," because the earth is going to be shaken by this destruction, by the judgment of the Lord. All right, so showing you this is end time prophecy. Let's go back to the book of Isaiah. All right, the book of Isaiah, which those the stars of heaven falling upon the earth represents the missiles, man. All right, because as we keep on reading in the book of Isaiah chapter 34, it says what? "For my sword shall be bathed in heaven." And what's that sword? The missiles. All right, the missiles are going to be bathing through heaven, bathing through the upper atmosphere, bathing through the sky, man. All right, the missiles are going to be flying through the sky, bathing through the sky, the heavens. It says, "For my sword shall be bathed in heaven. Behold, it shall come down upon who? Upon Edom." All right, Idumea is the Greek way of saying Edom, man. All right, when you go into Herod the Great, who was his father? His father was Antipater the Idumean. Idumea is the Greek way of saying Edom. You see, when the Lord was on the earth 2,000 years ago, the Edomites were ruling. The Edomites were in power, and they were ruling as what? All right, ancient pagan Rome, the Roman Empire. And fast forward today, we live in a revived Roman Empire, which is America, NATO, and the EU. All right, America is Mystery Babylon the Great. America is an extension of the Roman Empire, man. Instead of Caesars, you have presidents. All right. You look at the architecture, these government buildings, the Supreme Court building, they look very similar to what? Greco-Roman temples. All right. The names of the planets, Jupiter, Venus, Mars, Neptune, they go back to Roman gods. The names of the months, January go back to the Roman god Janus. July goes back to Julius Caesar. August goes back to Augustus Caesar. Christmas goes back to the Roman festival Saturnalia. All right. Valentine's Day goes back to the Roman festival Lupercalia. All right. Cupid is the Roman god of love. Okay. All right. Just like Rome had a bread and circuses, America, Babylon the Great, has bread and circuses. And it's ruled by the same people, the children of Edom, which is the so-called white men. All right. So it says, for my sword shall be bathed in heaven, the missiles. And it says, behold, it shall come down upon Edom and upon the people of my curse to judgment. This is the judgment of the Lord that's going to happen in these last days, man. This fire, these missiles, they're going to come upon Edom, man, upon Babylon the Great. All right. Okay, because basically this is the capital, of this devil's kingdom, man, Basra. Okay, and the scriptures go into that. The sword of the Lord Yahweh is filled with blood. It is made fat with fatness, and with the blood of lambs and goats, and with the fat of kidneys of rams. For the Lord Yahweh by Shemawashai hath the sacrifice in Basra, and a great slaughter in the land of Edom, man. Okay, let's drop down verse 8. It says, for it is the day of the Lord's vengeance, and a year of recompenses for the controversy of Zion. And the streams thereof shall be turned into pitch, and the dust thereof into brimstone, and the land thereof shall become burning pitch. This place, America, Babylon the Great, is going to be burned up, man. All right. It says, it shall not be quenched night nor day. The smoke thereof shall go up forever, from generation to generation. It shall lie waste. None shall pass through it forever and ever. Right. Because this place is going to be burned by fire, and that smoke is going to go up into the heavens. All right. And you can read about that in Revelation 18. All right. The scriptures speak about they saw the smoke of her burning. All right. Revelation 19. Let's get that real quick. Revelation 19. This is Revelation 19, verse 1. It says, and after these things I heard a great voice of much people in heaven saying, Hallelujah. Salvation and glory and honor and power unto the Lord Yahweh our God. For true and righteous are his judgments, for he had judged the great whore, America, which did corrupt the earth with her fornication, and had avenged the blood of his servants at her hand. And again they said, Hallelujah, and her smoke rose up forever and ever. That smoke going up, because this place is going to be burned by fire. All right. The missiles, man. Okay. Because the children of Edom are synonymous with the great whore, the daughter of Babylon, mystery Babylon the Great. And let's further prove that. This is the book of Jeremiah. And this is the book of Jeremiah, chapter 50. Let me get verse 42. This is the book of Jeremiah, chapter 50, verse 42. It says, they shall hold the bow and the lance. They are cruel and will not show mercy. Their voice shall roar like the sea, and they shall ride upon horses, everyone put in array like a man to the battle against thee, O daughter of Babylon. And the daughter of Babylon is America. Now, when you go to the book of Psalms, chapter 137, this is Psalms chapter 137, verse 7. It says, remember, O Lord, Yahweh Bashemawashai, the children of Edom, in the day of Jerusalem, who said, raise it, even to the foundation thereof, O daughter of Babylon, who art to be destroyed. Happy shall he be that rewarded thee as thou hast served us. Happy shall he be that taketh and dasheth thy little ones against the stones, man. You see, the children of Edom, Idumea, they're the ones that are synonymous with the daughter of Babylon, the great whore, mystery Babylon the Great, which is America, which is prophesied to be destroyed by the Lord by the way of fire, man. All right, by the way of fire. Okay, so let's go back to the book of Jeremiah, chapter 50. All right, because it's going to be destroyed by fire by what? By the way of these missiles. This is Jeremiah chapter 50, verse 9. It says, for lo, I will raise and cause to come up against Babylon an assembly of great nations from the north country. And they shall set themselves in array against her. From thence she shall be taken. Their arrows shall be as of a mighty expert man. None shall return in vain, man. You see, the Lord is finna have these nations come up against America. And this is why you see, all right, what's going on in the earth now. Because the Lord is making these nations despise America, man. All right. The Lord is making these nations, all right, despise the whore. All right. Babylon the Great, even America's own allies. That's prophecy. The 10 horns which thou sawest upon the beast, these shall hate the whore, America, man. The European Union, the certain NATO nations, man. The Lord is going to have the nations of the earth, all right, destroy America, Babylon the Great, man, by the way of fire. Okay? Because these arrows represents the missiles. When you read 2nd Ezra, the scriptures say, for strong is his right hand that bendeth the bow, his arrows that he shooteth are sharp, and shall not miss when they begin to be shot into the ends of the world, man. And what arrows can be shot to the ends of the world? That's because the arrows that are speaking of aren't literal. These arrows are speaking of the missiles, man. The stars of heaven. All right. That sword that shall be bathed in heaven, man. The missiles, man. And this what's going to come upon this place and destroy it by the way of fire. All right. Let's drop down verse 29. It says, call together the archers against Babylon. All ye that bend the bow, camp against it round about, let none thereof escape. Recompense her according to her work, according to all that she had done, do unto her. For she had been proud against the Lord, Yahweh Shemawashai, against the Holy One of Israel, man. These nations are likened unto archers. Archers handle the bow and arrow, man. All right. And these nations are likened unto archers, and their arrows represent what? The missiles. All right. The Lord is going to have these archers come up against Babylon the Great, against this whore, these nations, man. All right. And this how this place is going to be destroyed by fire. As a matter of fact, I should have Isaiah 13, because one of these main archers is who? Russia, man. Which in the scriptures, Gog and Magog, the Medes. All right. This is Isaiah chapter 13. Actually, let me start above just a little. This is Isaiah chapter 13, verse 13. It says, therefore, I will shake the heavens, and the earth shall remove out of her place, in the wrath of the Lord Yahweh Shemawashai hosts, in the day of his fierce anger, man. You see, so the earth is going to be shaken and be removed out of her place from the judgment of the Lord, man. You know, let's drop down to verse 17. It says, behold, I will stir up the Medes against them, which shall not regard silver. Just like we was reading in Jeremiah 50, for lo, I will raise and cause to come up against Babylon an assembly of great nations, man. The Lord is going to put the spirit into the rulers of these nations that come up against America, man. The scriptures say the king's heart is in the hand of the Lord. He turneth it whithersoever he will. All right. So it said, behold, I will stir up the Medes against them, which shall not regard silver, and as for gold, they shall not delight in it. Their bows also shall dash the young men to pieces, and they shall have no pity on the fruit of the womb. Their eyes shall not spare children, right? Their bows, all right? Because remember, these nations are likened unto archers, all right? And archers handle what? The bow and arrow, man. It says, in Babylon, the glory of kingdoms, the beauty of the Chaldees' excellency, shall be as when the Most High, Yahweh Shemawashai, overthrew Sodom and Gomorrah. And how did the Lord overthrow Sodom and Gomorrah? By the way of fire and brimstone. And America is going to be destroyed in like fashion. This land of Edom, Idumea, is going to be destroyed in like fashion by way of the missiles, those arrows, the stars of heaven. All right, that sword being bathed in heaven, flying, you know. And it's going to come down upon what? A Babylon the Great, upon Edom, man. This was going to take place in these last days. All right. Okay, this was going to take place in these last days. Let's go back to Jeremiah 50 and let's drop down to the last couple of verses. Verse 45. It says, therefore, hear ye the counsel of the Lord, Yahweh Shemawashai, that he had taken against Babylon, and his purposes they had purposed against the land of the Chaldeans. Surely the least of the flock shall draw them out. Surely he shall make their habitation desolate with them. And the least of the flock are going into the 1948ers, the small hats, man. All right. Okay. Because they're the ones that's dragging America into the Third World War. All right. And we see that's evident today, man. Okay. All right. The 1940 is as if the 1948ers have America on the leash. Okay? Because it's prophecy. Let's keep reading. It says, at the noise of the taking of Babylon, the earth is moved, and the cry is heard among the nations. All right? At the noise of the taking of Babylon, the earth is moved, man. The earth is going to be moved. It's going to be shaken at the destruction of Babylon the Great. All right? At the fall of America, the earth is going to move, man. Okay? Showing you once again these last days. All right? And I bring this out to go to the book of Jeremiah chapter 49, which speaks about who? Edom. It speaks about Esau. All right? Because the children of Edom, the Edomites, which is the so-called white men, they're synonymous with Mystery Babylon the Great, which is America. This their chief, this their capital of their, this the capital of their kingdom, Basra, man. All right. This is Jeremiah chapter 49, verse 20. It says, therefore, hear the counsel of the Lord, Yahweh Shemawashai. They had taken against Edom and his purposes, they had purposed against the inhabitants of Teman. Surely the least of the flock shall draw them out. Surely he shall make the habitation desolate with. It's going into the same thing as Jeremiah 50. All right, because once again, Esau, Edom, Idumea, is synonymous with the daughter of Babylon, Mystery Babylon the great whore, which is going to be destroyed in these last days by the way of fire. It says the earth is moved at the noise of their fall. At the cry, the noise thereof was heard in the Red Sea, man. The earth is going to be shaken and moved at the fall of Edom, at the fall of America, at the destruction of Babylon the Great, man. And this is Bible prophecy, you know. And that's really the point, man. And we understand that the Lord's elect, they're going to be delivered from this fiery destruction by being taken up into the chariot, man. You know, and all these Christians that claim to believe in God, to believe in the Bible, they gonna end up taking the micro C up, because in reality, they really love their lives in this world. They want to see this world continue. All they see is America, man. All right. But, you know, that's really the point. Lord willing, this lesson was edifying. I'm going to close it out. Get infinite praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Merkak Wadash. Double honors to the elders and apostles, a great millstone, taught me this truth. Peace, blessings, and salutations to